Current market value of 10 Omega watches, 2025. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into one of the most respected names in Swiss horology, Omega, a brand that has conquered the oceans, the racetrack, and even outer space. If you're a watch collector, an investor, or simply someone who appreciates fine craftsmanship, this video is going to be a treat. In 2025, the demand for certain Omega models has surged dramatically, driven by limited releases, historical relevance, and a renewed interest from younger collectors. Some of these pieces have quietly doubled in value over the last few years, while others are poised to become the next big sleepers in the luxury watch market. So today, we're counting down the current market value of 10 Omega watches, from number 10 to the number 1 most valuable and sought-after piece you should keep your eyes on in 2025. If you love watch investment content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like to support the channel, and share this video with your watch collector friends. Your engagement truly helps me bring more high-quality content straight to you. All right, let's get started. And trust me, number 1 is going to shock you. 10 Omega Seamaster Railmaster. Starting off our list at number 10 is a model that often lives in the shadow of its more famous siblings, yet quietly holds a unique place in Omega's heritage. The Seamaster Railmaster. Originally introduced in 1957 as part of the legendary Professional trilogy, the Railmaster was designed for engineers, scientists, and railway workers who worked around strong magnetic fields. While it never reached the mainstream popularity of the Speedmaster or the Seamaster diver, its legacy as a purpose-built anti-magnetic tool watch has earned it a loyal cult following that has only grown stronger in recent years. Fast forward to 2025, and collectors have started rediscovering the beauty of its minimalist design. A clean dial with vintage-inspired numerals, a smooth brushed case, and a no-nonsense identity that stands apart from Omega's flashier pieces, the modern master chronometer movement inside the Railmaster, capable of resisting up to 15,000 Gauss of magnetism, has also helped the model age gracefully in a world where laptops, wireless chargers, and everyday electronics are everywhere. On the secondary market this year, good condition Railmasters are trading between $3,800 and $4,400, depending on whether you're looking at the denim dial variant, the classic brushed gray, or the limited 60th anniversary edition. What's interesting is how stable the price has remained, a sign that collectors respect the watch for what it offers: timeless design, technical resilience, and historical depth. It's still one of the best value entry points into Omega's vintage-inspired lineup, especially for buyers who love understated elegance rather than hype-driven models. 9 Omega Seamaster Professional 2, 2.5, 4.50. Landing at number 9 is a modern classic that many collectors consider one of the best everyday dive watches Omega has ever produced. The Seamaster Professional 225 4.50, released in the early 2000s and powered by the ultra-reliable caliber 1120, the 2254.50 stands out not because of flashy materials or celebrity endorsements, but because of its pure, functional, almost military-like design language that has aged incredibly well. Collectors often describe the 2254.50 as the Seamaster for people who don't want a Seamaster, and in a way that's true. Gone are the wave dials, skeleton hands, or glossy ceramic bezels of modern Seamasters. Instead, you get a matte black dial with stark white indices, an oversized minute hand for maximum visibility, razor-sharp sword hands, and a slim profile that wears beautifully on the wrist. Its tool watch aesthetic is so strong that it has quietly built a reputation as one of the most balanced and practical Omega divers ever made. In the 2025 secondary market, the 2254.50 has experienced a resurgence as collectors shift interest toward neo-vintage pieces. Watches from the late 90s to early 2000s that are modern enough for everyday wear, but still carry design DNA you won't find in today's releases. Values that once sat around $3,000 have climbed steadily, and clean examples now trade between $4,500 and $5,300, especially those with original boxes, papers, and the sought-after bond bracelet. What makes this model particularly interesting for investors is the supply and demand curve. Because Omega no longer makes anything quite like the 2254.50, and because many collectors wore them as true daily drivers, pristine examples are becoming scarce. For anyone wanting a piece of Omega history that's rugged, understated, and quietly rising in value, the 2254.50 remains one of the smartest buys in 2025. 8. Mega Speedmaster Reduced. Coming in at number 8 is a model that has sparked endless debates in the collector world, the Omega Speedmaster. While purists always gravitate toward the full-size Moonwatch, the Reduced has carved out its own legacy, appealing to those who want the classic Speedmaster look in a more compact, wearable, and approachable package. First introduced in the late 80s, the Speedmaster Reduced is instantly recognizable. The same black dial, the same tri-register layout, the same tachymeter bezel that made the Speedmaster famous. But at 39 millimeters, the Reduced offers a completely different wearing experience. It's lighter, thinner, and sits beautifully on smaller wrists, making it a perfect everyday, go anywhere, do anything chronograph. And in 2025, with vintage and neo-vintage trends at an all-time high, collectors are rediscovering the appeal of modestly sized watches. What's fascinating about the Reduced is how it has transitioned from being the cheaper alternative to becoming a neo-vintage collectible in its own right. Collectors now appreciate the hybrid movement, a combination of Omega finishing and a reliable Dubois des Pras chronograph module, as part of the watch's unique character. For years, this model sat stagnant around $2,000 to $3,000, but the market has shifted dramatically. In 2025, clean examples with sharp lugs, original bracelets, and well-running movements are trading between $4,900 and $5,700. Full-set models consistently command a premium and often sell instantly on private forums. The Speedmaster Reduced offers something rare, true Speedmaster soul in a compact format wrapped in late 20th century charm. It's a gateway into Omega chronographs, but more importantly, it's a watch that finally gets the respect it deserves. And its rising market value in 2025 is proof. 7. Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean, 42 millimeters. Taking the number 7 spot as one of the toughest, most over-engineered divers Omega has ever released, the Seamaster Planet Ocean, 42 millimeters with the caliber 8500. Introduced as part of Omega's modern generation of professional dive watches, this model has matured into a neo-classic, admired for its ruggedness, its bold proportions, and its unmistakable presence on the wrist. The ceramic bezel, applied indices, and thick hands give it a high-end visual punch, while the case construction feels almost indestructible. This model ushered in Omega's Metis-level accuracy long before master chronometer certification became standard, thanks to the impressive caliber 8500, a movement collectors now view as one of Omega's most important technological milestones. The twin-barrel design, anti-magnetic components, and buttery smooth winding make it a mechanical powerhouse. In the 2025 market, something interesting has happened. The Planet Ocean 42 millimeter has become the Goldilocks choice. While the 45.5 millimeter version caters to enthusiasts who love big dive watches, the 42 millimeter variant hits the sweet spot for everyday wear. As collectors gravitate toward more modest case sizes, demand for the 42 millimeter model has risen dramatically over the last 18 months. Pre-owned prices that once hovered around $4,000 have steadily climbed, and today, clean examples trade between $6,000 and $6,800. Especially those with the upgraded ceramic bezel and original Omega bracelet. What makes this watch even more attractive is the shift in collector psychology. People have rediscovered appreciation for early generation ceramic Planet Oceans, the models that represent Omega's transition into modern luxury tool watches. As a result, pristine units are becoming harder to find, and collectors now call the 42 millimeter 8500 the smart buy before prices spike again. This watch delivers dive watch grit, cutting-edge movement engineering in luxury aesthetics, all wrapped in one of the most wearable tool watches Omega has ever made. And in 2025, the market finally reflects that. 6. Omega Seamaster 300 Master Co-Axial. At number 6, we have a watch that beautifully bridges the past and the present. The Omega Seamaster 300 Master Co-Axial, a modern reinterpretation of the iconic 1957 Seamaster. This is not the Diver 300M Bond watch, nor is it the vintage model collectors see in museums. This is Omega's modern heritage piece, a watch designed to honor history while quietly outperforming many contemporary divers in technology and craftsmanship. What makes the Seamaster 300 Master Co-Axial stand out is its timeless aesthetic. The broad arrow hands, the sandwich dial, the warm vintage tone lume, and the clean symmetrical case lines. It feels like a watch pulled straight out of the late 1950s, but rebuilt with 21st century engineering. Collectors often describe it as the most honest vintage-inspired Omega ever made, because it doesn't try to be flashy. It tries to be faithful inside. The Master Co-Axial movement elevates the watch far beyond its vintage roots. We're talking about a mechanism resistant to 15,000 Gauss, anti-magnetic components throughout, and Omega's signature coaxial escapement that reduces friction and enhances long-term accuracy. On the secondary market, the Seamaster 300 Master Co-Axial has enjoyed one of the most stable upward trends among Omega's heritage models for years. It floated between $4,000 and $5,000. But as collectors shifted toward vintage and neo-vintage aesthetics, demand surged. The introduction of the newer Seamaster 300 variants also pushed interest back toward the original coaxial version, with many collectors preferring the earlier typography, dial proportions, and patina-inspired color palette. Today, in 2025, the market value sits comfortably between $6,700 and $7,500, with full-set models often selling at the higher-end, limited color variations. Particularly the blue dial and the two-tone steel gold version can push even higher in private deals. This watch is the perfect example of Omega's strength, honoring history without being trapped by it. Its vintage soul paired with modern resilience. And that combination is proving incredibly desirable in today's collector's market. 5. Omega Speedmaster First Omega in Space, FOiS. Taking the number 5 position is a watch that blends history, elegance, and collectability in a way few modern Omegas can. The Speedmaster First Omega in Space, widely known among collectors as the FOiS, inspired by the exact Speedmaster CK-2998 worn by astronaut Wally Schirra during the 1962 Mercury Atlas 8 mission, the FOiS is more than just a tribute piece. It's a window into Omega's pre-Moonwatch era, a time when the Speedmaster wasn't yet the Moonwatch, but a racing chronograph destined for greatness. Released in 2012 and discontinued quietly in 2020, the FOiS has become one of Omega's most romantic modern references. Its 39.7mm case, alpha hands, straight lugs, and retro charm distinguish it instantly from the bulkier, more modern Speedmaster variants. It retains the classic hand-wound Lamania-based movement, the caliber 1861, giving it that raw, tactile, winding feel that Speedmaster purists absolutely love. For years, the FOiS was somewhat overlooked, hovering around $3,500 to $4,200 on the pre-owned market. But everything changed once Omega discontinued the model. Suddenly, collectors realized that Omega had no direct modern equivalent. No other Speedmaster captured the early 1960s aesthetic so faithfully while still being fully wearable as a modern piece. As vintage prices soared and the 300 to 21 reissue became nearly unattainable, the FOiS emerged as the only accessible, true vintage-style Speedy. In 2025, strong collector demand has pushed prices up dramatically. Clean FOiS examples now trade between $7,800 and $8,600, with full-set models often reaching the top of that range. Some near-mint pieces have even touched the $9,000 mark in private dealer networks. And because the model was produced for only about 8 years, the supply is limited, a key factor driving its rising market value. Investors see its rising trajectory, especially as more collectors transition to sub-40mm watches. In 2025, the FOiS isn't just a great Speedmaster. It's one of the smartest long-term Omega investments under $10,000. 4. Omega Speedmaster, Dark Side of the Moon, Apollo 8. At number 4, we have the Speedmaster, Dark Side of the Moon, Apollo 8, a model that has steadily climbed in desirability thanks to its unique place within the modern Speedmaster lineup introduced in 2018. This watch blends technical precision with subtle storytelling, honoring the Apollo 8 mission, the first human journey to orbit the moon, without relying on gimmicks or overly dramatic design cues. The Apollo 8 stands out primarily because of its laser-engraved movement, where the blackened bridges are meticulously textured to resemble the lunar surface. It's a detail you may not notice at first glance, but the moment you turn the watch over, the craftsmanship becomes unmistakable. The skeletonized dial offers a clean, open view into the mechanical architecture, creating a balance between complexity and restraint. Encased in lightweight black ceramic, the Apollo 8 feels modern yet grounded. The yellow accents serve as precise visual markers rather than decorative flair, giving the watch a quiet confidence that distinguishes it from the more colorful or experimental Dark Side of the Moon variants. In terms of market performance, the Apollo 8 has transitioned from an underappreciated release to a strong performer in the secondary market values that hovered around $7,000 to $8,000 just a few years ago, have climbed significantly as collectors increasingly prioritize story-driven references, especially those connected to Omega's rich space heritage. In 2025, the Apollo 8 consistently trades between $10,500 and $12,500, with full-set models commanding the strongest premiums. Its rising value is supported by 3 key factors: distinct identity within the Darkside family, discontinued movement finishing that Omega has not replicated elsewhere, steady collector demand fueled by both its wearability and its historical link to early lunar exploration. The Apollo 8 doesn't try to overshadow the classic moonwatch. Instead, it offers a refined contemporary interpretation of Omega's space legacy. And in today's market, that combination is proving extremely compelling. 3. Omega Seamaster 300 Spectre, Limited Edition. Taking the number 3 position is a watch that blends Hollywood visibility, vintage-inspired design, and genuine collector demand in a way few modern Omegas can match. The Seamaster 300 Spectre Limited Edition. Released in 2015 to coincide with the James Bond film Spectre, this model has become one of the most sought-after contemporary Omega limited editions, admired not only for its connection to the franchise, but also for its distinct design language. Right away, the Spectre sets itself apart with its lollipop seconds hand, a detail resurrected from early Omega dive watches of the 1950s. The bi-directional 12-hour bezel adds real versatility, functioning as both a secondary time zone and timing scale. A rare departure from the standard unidirectional dive bezel. Paired with the black and cream dial tones and broad arrow hands, the watch carries a refined, vintage aesthetic that feels cohesive rather than forced inside as Omega's master Co-Axial movement, offering exceptional anti-magnetic resistance up to 15,000 Gauss, chronometer-level precision, and long-term durability. As a strictly limited release of 7,007 pieces, collector interest has remained consistently strong for nearly a decade. When it first hit the market, the watch traded only slightly above retail, but as more collectors shifted toward limited edition Omega references with historical inspiration, the Spectre began to stand out. Its design is unique, its production run is finite, and it represents a very specific moment in Omega's modern history. In 2025, market values reflect that maturity. Clean examples now sell between $12,000 and $14,500, with full-set boxes, NATO straps, and original steel bracelets often commanding the upper range. Some unpolished or near-mint pieces have even breached the $15,000 mark in private collector networks. The Seamaster 300 Spectre isn't just a film-related release, it's one of Omega's strongest limited editions of the last 20 years, And in 2025, it remains a model whose value is both emotionally compelling and financially solid. 2. Omega Speedmaster Silver Snoopy Award 50th Anniversary. At number 2 sits one of the most admired and consistently high-performing modern Speedmasters, the Silver Snoopy Award 50th Anniversary Edition. Among collectors, this watch has achieved an unusual status. It's not just a special edition, not just a tribute, but a model that feels like a genuine milestone in Omega's contemporary catalog, released in 2020 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of NASA awarding Omega the Silver Snoopy Award for saving the Apollo 13 mission. This reference strikes a rare balance. It honors history in a way that's meaningful rather than nostalgic, and it presents its storytelling through craftsmanship instead of branding. The standout feature is the animated caseback, a brilliantly executed mechanical tableau where Snoopy, seated in his command and service module, orbits the moon each time the chronograph runs. It's playful, but never childish. It's technical, but never over-engineered. And that emotional resonance is exactly what collectors have gravitated toward. On the dial side, the crisp blue and white color palette gives this Speedmaster its own identity, distinct from the traditional moonwatch aesthetic. The embossed Snoopy at 9 o'clock, the silver metal patch, and the finely milled subdials come together in a way that feels complete. Not crowded, what's significant is how the market has responded. Since release, demand has been consistently higher than supply, and Omega has maintained steady but limited production. Unlike many special editions that spike and fade, the 50th anniversary Snoopy has shown remarkably stable long-term appreciation. In 2025, clean examples regularly trade between $22,000 and $26,000, with some full-set, unworn pieces crossing above $27,000 in private sales. The value is driven by active collector demand year after year, long-term relevance tied to Omega's NASA heritage, a unique mechanical caseback that exists on no other Speedmaster, under-controlled production, keeping supply naturally tight. The Silver Snoopy Award 50th Anniversary Edition isn't just a high-value modern Omega. It's one of the most future-proof Speedmasters released in the past 2 decades, and its price trajectory in 2025 reflects that perfectly. 1. Omega Speedmaster Ed White Caliber 321. Taking the number 1 position is the Omega Speedmaster Ed White Caliber 321, a watch that has earned its place at the top through a combination of historical significance, rarity, and craftsmanship that stands apart from anything else in Omega's modern catalog. Omega didn't simply create a reissue. They resurrected the legendary Caliber 321 by reverse engineering the original movement, recreating its column wheel architecture, its distinctive copper tone finishing, and its hand-assembled construction. The watch itself feels like stepping back into the Speedmaster's early heritage. A 39.7mm straight lug case, a step dial with historically correct typography, and a period-accurate .over-90 bezel that mirrors the original 1960s aesthetic. And beneath that vintage exterior lies the reborn 321, a movement whose return has redefined what collectors expect from Omega's high-end offerings. In the 2025 market, the Ed White 321 has shown remarkable stability and appreciation. Prices consistently sit between $32,000 and $38,000, with pristine full-set pieces surpassing $40,000 in private transactions. Its rise isn't driven by hype cycles, but by the combination of limited production, deep historical roots, and a level of authenticity that resonates with serious collectors. Among all modern Omegas, it is the watch that most successfully bridges past and present, and its value reflects that. In 2025, the Speedmaster Ed White 321 stands undeniably at the top, a modern masterpiece built on one of the richest legacies in watchmaking. And that wraps up our look at the current market values of 10 Omega watches shaping the collector landscape in 2025. Whether you're just starting your journey into watch collecting or you've been building a collection for years, Omega continues to offer some of the most compelling pieces in modern horology. Watches with real history, real craftsmanship, and real staying power. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with anyone who loves watches as much as you do. Your support helps me bring more detailed, research-driven content right to you. Let me know in the comments which model stood out to you the most. And if you own any of the watches on this list, I'd love to hear your experience and how their values have changed over time. Thanks for spending your time with me today. Until the next video, keep learning, keep collecting, and keep your passion for great timepieces ticking.